So good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sudhi.
Swami.
Morning.
Morning, Swamiji.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Gunamai. Good morning, Mrs. Lathi.
Good morning, Swami. This is Steve.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Johnson. Good morning.
Yes.
Good morning, Betty.
Good morning, Swami.
Good morning, Alexandra. And good morning, Kales. Although I don't see them. Kales are a voice without a form.
Pranas Maharaj.
Yes, Swamiji said, I am a voice without a form. So you too, your screen is visible, not you. All right. Good morning, Barbara. So let's start. Let's start with chanting. First morning chanting, beginning chant. Okay, so we shall chant together. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karvavahai Tejasvina Badhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. May the Supreme Spirit protect us. May the Supreme Spirit nourish us. May we work together with great energy. May our study be vigorous and fruitful. May love and harmony dwell amongst us. Om, peace, peace, peace be unto all. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, lead us from the unreal to the real. Lead us from darkness to light. Lead us from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace be unto all. So, as we know that we have entered into the 7th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, which is a transition in subject matter. Now onwards, for the next 6 chapters, the emphasis or stress will be on God, on adoration of God, devotion to God, and finally, surrender to God. And so, now starts, we saw that in the first 3 verses of 7th chapter was kind of introduction to the subject matter. And now, next few verses are very important verses of entire Bhagavad Gita, where Sri Krishna distills the teaching of the Upanishads and present before us reveals the nature of God. And all these teachings are based on Upanishad. Sri Krishna is not teaching us anything new apart from the Upanishads. And it will be amazing to find how today we shall see only 4 verses. And it is amazing that how in these 4 verses he distills the teaching of the Upanishad about one very important concept, the concept of God and creation, how God itself evolved into creation. There are so many important things to note. So we shall try to break down the concepts and we'll find what an amazing what amazing ideas are here in next 4 verses, verse 4 to verse 7 of chapter 7. If we have little bit of Upanishadic background, we shall be able to understand these 4 verses better. So Upanishad defined God as cause of the universe, Jagat Karanam. What is God? One who is the cause of this universe. Yatoba imani bhutani jayante, from which everything has come, in which everything rests, and to which everything goes back. And whenever we talk about the cause of something, we should know that everything has got twofold cause. For example, here is a table in front of me. We need 2 causes. One is the raw material out of which the desk is made, the wood itself. It is called technically the material cause. And in Sanskrit, it is called Upadana Karana. Karana means cause or source. Upadana means material. But the wood itself won't turn into a table. The wood will remain here hundreds and thousands of years, but we need another cause to transform this wood into a table. And that is an intelligent cause or intelligent principle. That intelligent principle, a carpenter, for the case of the table, it is called the intelligent cause or nimitta karanam. Nimitta karanam, or who is the instrument. Upanishads point out that Lord or God is the cause of the universe. Before the creation, God alone existed. And from God evolved the entire creation. And when we say creation, it means even time and space, because time and space are also integral part of creation. So before creation, God alone was there. Now, here is a question. If God alone was there, and from God alone, this entire creation emerged, evolved, what kind of cause God is? Is God the intelligent cause or the material cause? So Upanishads point out that God is both the material cause and the intelligent cause of the universe, which is a departure from what we know from the Abrahamic religion, that God created this universe and God is separate from universe. But from the standpoint of Upanishad, from the viewpoint of Upanishad, from the standpoint of intelligent cause, we say God created this universe. And from the standpoint of the material cause, we say God evolved into this universe. But the next question we shall ask is, how can we accept that? Because we see everywhere the material cause and the intelligent cause are two different things, different beings. The carpenter is different from the table. The cook is different from rice. Okay, so how it can be? The Upanishad answers that, well, that is a general law that intelligent cause and material cause are different, but they are exceptional cases. Mundaka Upanishad says, and we find it in some other Upanishads too. They give the example of a spider. A spider spins the net or the web. It is the weaver of the net, and the net is also from the spider itself. The spider itself creates the net, and it is also the weaver of the net. We find it in Mundaka Upanishad. Yatha urnanavihi srijate grinnate cha tatha aksharat sambhati iha vishwam. As the spider creates and absorbs, so this universe proceeds from the immortal. So God is both the intelligent cause and material cause of the universe. In Sanskrit, it is called a technical term, abhinna, nimitta upadana karanam. Abhinna means non-different. The same being is both the material cause and intelligent cause of this wonderful creation. Now, the next question is, what is the nature of such God? So in keeping with Upanishad, Sri Krishna also points out in the next 4 verses that God consists of 2 principles. 2 principles put together is God. He calls it my higher nature, my lower nature. Para Prakriti, the higher nature, and Apara Prakriti, the lower nature. And why they call it higher and lower, we shall see in a moment. But before going into details, let us have a brief look at the features of these 2 principles. These 2 principles have 1 similarity and 3 differences. First, the similarity. The common feature of both these principles, the higher principle and the lower principle, the Para Prakriti and Apara Prakriti, are that they are both, this is very important, let us keep it in mind, they are both beginningless principle. That is, they are eternal, they were never created or destroyed. Even the lower nature, which is material in nature, they are never created or destroyed. They just transform, evolves, transform, and then come to a point of singularity or equilibrium where they remain in unmanifested state. From there, the creation again goes in a cyclic process. We shall see that later. But the important thing to remember is both these principles were never created or never destroyed. They exist eternally. Okay, both these principles. And there are three differences. The difference, the higher nature is so-called higher nature because it is the conscious principle. Whatever is conscious, that is the higher nature. It is the one which observes everything, which is the observer, experiencer, which is aware of everything. And the other principle, the lower principle, is the one observed, and it is material in nature. It is unconscious principle. And this conscious and matter, the mixture of this consciousness and matter is called God. The second difference is that the higher principle, the consciousness, does not have any physical or chemical properties. But the lower nature, the material nature, has got the physical and chemical properties. They can be observed. They have properties, but the higher nature does not have any attributes or properties. Para Prakriti and Apara Prakriti. One is Nirguna, another is Saguna. Nirguna means without any attributes, and Saguna means they have attributes, they have qualities. And third difference is the higher nature is free from all modifications. It does not transform, but the lower principle is changing. It transforms. The body change, and mind is also matter according to Vedanta, and comes under the domain of the lower nature. They all change, this universe change, everything change. So Apara Prakriti, or the lower principle, keeps on changing. It is subject to modifications. And that is the reason why the conscious principle is called higher, because it does not undergo any change. In Vedanta, anything that is more permanent is given a higher status. So this, according to Vedanta, this consciousness principle, the observer, the witness, it does not modify, does not undergo modification. That's why it is called higher nature. Now, imagine a state before creation. God alone was there. This mixture of Para Prakriti and Apara Prakriti, the higher principle and the lower principle. Here, you have to remember that evolution is presented in 3 stages, just like a seed becoming a sapling, which is kind of intermediate stage, and that sapling becoming a full-fledged tree, which is the final stage. Exactly like that, in the state of equilibrium, the Para Prakriti and Apara Prakriti remain in a undisturbed state, like a seed, and it is called unmanifested. Creation did not start. We may call, borrowing a phrase from physics, they were in a state of singularity. Then intermediate stage. In intermediate stage, this Apara Prakriti, the lower principle, multiplies itself into 8-fold principle. The lower one transforms into 8-fold principles. And all the while, the Para Prakriti, higher principle, remains as it is because it does not modify, does not undergo modification. So this is, we may say, this intermediate stage is like sapling. So in the intermediate stage, how many principles are there? One, Para Prakriti, the higher principle, and 8 lower principles. The one lower principle multiplied itself into 8 principles. So altogether 9. All belong to this intermediate stage of evolution of God. All these 9 principles, we have to remember, belong to God only. Then in the final stage, when these, out of these 8-fold principles of the Apara Prakriti, this manifold creation, this creation of multiplicity takes place with all its variations. And this is like the full-fledged tree. Whatever we are seeing in front of us is this Apara Prakriti aspect of God. This is very important. Whatever we are seeing in front of us is just the Apara Prakriti aspect of God alone. God has got 2 natures, the higher and the lower, and whatever is visible is just the lower nature of God. With this background, now look at verse number 4, which is the intermediate stage of evolution. Sri Krishna did not start with the seed stage, but it is implied. Before this took place, the 2 principles coexisted in a state of equilibrium. Now starts the intermediate stage of evolution, the 4th verse of chapter 7. Bhumirapa nalo mayuhu khammano buddhirevacha ahamkara iti yamme bhinna prakriti ashtadha. So Krishna says 5 subtle elements. What are they? Bhumi means earth. Apaha, water. Anala, fire. Vayu, air. Kham, space. These are 5 subtle elements. They are subtle. They are not gross yet. Okay, we have to remember that. That is, they are not yet perceivable. And these 5 principles plus 3 mental aspects. Manaha, buddhi, ahamkara. Manaha means the mind, which receives information. Buddhi, intellect, which makes choices, which decides. Then ahamkara is ego, which gives us our identity. Whenever we think of I am that, I am this, I am that, that is our ego aspect of our mind. So these are the Bhinna Prakriti Ashtadha, 8-fold Apara Prakriti. Mind, intellect, ego, plus 5 subtle elements. Now, in the next verse, Sri Krishna introduces the higher principle, Para Prakriti. What does he say? He says, Apareyam itastvanam prakritim vidhi me param jiva bhuta mahabaho yayedam dharyate jagat. So this is my higher principle. Which one? The consciousness. And as I said earlier, Vedanta considers consciousness the higher principle because consciousness is that which is not subject to modification. But the other 8 principles are subject to modification. And what is that Para Prakriti? This consciousness. And where is that located? In this creation only. Just as the apara prakriti is in this creation, so also the para prakriti, my higher nature, is also in this creation, jiva bhutam, which is given to these embodied beings. You, the experiencer, is this para prakriti. You, the observer, is the higher aspect of God. Whatever changing is apara prakriti. The elements, the mind, the body, everything is changing. But whatever is not changing, whatever is the observer, is the higher principle of God. So creation is a mixture of two principles. The experiencer, para prakriti, and the experienced, apara prakriti. The observer, para prakriti, and observed, apara prakriti. So the experiencer in each of us, it is God's higher nature. Jiva bhutam vidhi. Know that to be my higher nature. So what does God want, Sri Krishna wants to say? That each of us is a spark of the divine. The consciousness in us, the observer in us, the experiencer is in us is just a divine spark. Now, the final stage of evolution. In the final stage, the 8 elements, 5 subtle elements, and 3 mind, buddhi, ahamkara, they mind, mana, buddhi, ahamkara don't undergo change, but the other 5 subtle elements, they first become 5 gross elements. The visible fire, the visible water, the perceptible air, pancha mahabhuta. And they, in turn, in their permutation and combination, gives this visible universe, this manifold universe. So this, at the final stage, there are gross elements and also elementals. Elementals means those products which are combination of the 5 elements. For example, our own body is combination and permutation of the 5 gross elements. That is the final stage of evolution. Now, very important, he says, Etad yoni nibhutani sarvani tupadharaya aham krishnasya jagataha prabhava pralayasthatha. Understand that all things have me as their source. I am the origin as well as end of the whole universe. All the things and beings that you experience, from the minutest microorganism to this evolved human body, everything has its cause as me, which is the mixture of para and apara prakriti. The para and apara prakriti mixture alone is the source of the entire creation. And this para apara prakriti mixture is called God. God alone has evolved in the form of this creation. So we see Sri Krishna borrowing from Upanishads is revolutionizing the concept of God. Vedanta, interestingly, introduces God in 3 levels. First, God as a person. Second, God as the universe. Third, God as the propertyless, attributeless consciousness, the abstract truth. But God as abstract truth, very few people can appreciate. Therefore, Vedanta does not present it at the very beginning. At first, Vedanta introduces God as a being, then as this entire universe. Then Vedanta asks us to go beyond and try to find out what is the non-changing aspect of this universe. What is the conscious aspect of the universe? Go on moving. So Krishna says, do not look upon God only as a person. Learn to look at everything as my own manifestation. Not only the whole creation evolves out of me, but the whole universe rests in me alone and comes back to me. It parallels to the physics concept of Big Bang and Big Crunch. You know, physics speaks about Big Bang, that the universe started evolving and expanding from the point of singularity, and the universe is still expanding. Then some of the physicists say that it will keep on expanding, then the whole thing will start collapsing and again come back to singularity. And from that, it will expand again. So this is Srishti, Sthiti, Pralaya. Srishti means creation or expansion, evolution. Then Sthiti, it will rest for some time. Pralaya means it will again dissolve into that equilibrium state. It's a cyclic process. And Krishna says that this evolution, this continuation and dissolution of the entire creation rests on me, that is in God, who is a mixture of para prakriti and apara prakriti. Aham Krishna swajagata prabhava pralayas. And to grasp the idea, Vedanta gives the example of dream. In our dream state, what we do, we project our dream universe. From our own mind, we create dream. And the time frame of dream world is different from the waking world. In 1.5 minutes, I can dream about a decade of events. I can dream in 1.5 minutes of dream stage. That is what they say, this REM sleep, that in that short span of sleep, I can dream of a longer period, maybe a decade. We may start as child and suddenly we may see that we have grown up. So, but when I wake up, I just dissolve that dream. I am the creator, sustainer, and again, dissolver of my own dream world. Similarly, God is also the creator, sustainer, and dissolver of the whole cosmos. And another important thing Sri Krishna says in the next verse that, well, if everybody has a cause, if I was born from my parents were born from my grandparents, and so on. So the question is, if God is the parent of the entire creation, who is the parents of God? Who are the parents of God? Sri Krishna says in the next verse, I am parentless parent. I am parentless parent of the universe. That is what he says. Matta parataram nanyat kinchit asti dhananjaya mai sarvamidam protam sutre manigana iva. Who are the parents of God? God, Sri Krishna says, God is the causeless cause of creation. Because, as we noted, God is what? Mixture of two prakriti, para prakriti and apara prakriti. The higher principle, the lower principle. The conscious principle, the inert principle. And we noted that Vedanta says both of these principles are beginningless. And God is what? Mixture of both these principles. Their combination is God. Therefore, God also must be what? God is also beginningless. Not only God is beginningless, God is inherent in creation. If God is the material cause of the creation, apart from being the intelligent cause of creation, God alone has evolved as this creation. So, whatever is in the creation is God alone. God alone is inherent in the creation. Just if a wood becomes a chair or table, that wood, property of wood, inheres in table and chair, so also God is inherent in creation. And that is what he gives with a beautiful example, that he gives an example of a rosary. As a string runs through all the beads of a rosary, sutre manigana iva. In a rosary, the beads are visible and the thread is invisible. The visible threads are held together, strung together by the invisible thread, which we are not seeing at the moment. Similarly, the entire creation, this visible creation, is held together with by God alone. So if someone asks us, where is God? We should answer. We should not try to answer that question. Rather, we should say, we should ask a counter question, where God is not. This is what Sri Krishna is trying to emphasize in these 4 verses. I remember one great song, bhajan, Swami Vivekananda used to sing. Moko kaha dhunde re bandhu, main to tere paas hu. So, where are you seeking God? I am near you. Not only as a shakshi, as a witness within you, but whatever you are seeing, whatever you are perceiving my own aspect, another aspect of God. God itself has evolved into the creation. To summarize, God is the material cause of the universe as well as the intelligent cause of the universe. Just like a spider. Just like a spider is the weaver of the net, and the net, the web, is also from within the spider, so also this entire creation has God is its material cause as well as its intelligent cause. God itself transforms into creation, and God is a mixture of 2 principles, the lower and the higher. The visible universe is God's lower principle, the apara prakriti, so-called insentient. The invisible principle of the creation is the higher principle, the consciousness, the observer. It is called higher because it does not undergo any change. And both these principles are beginningless. Both are eternal. It was not any point of time that they were created. They are, they were, they will be. Only the apara prakriti, the lower principles, transforms, changes, and then the creation, sustenance, and dissolution goes on in a psychic process. Both of them are eternal. Before evolution, the two principles remain in an equilibrium state, just like a seed. Then the lower principle first evolves into 8 principles, 5 subtle elements: mind, intellect, and ego. This is just the intermediate stage, like the sapling. Then from them evolves this visible, multifarious, gross universe. This is the final stage of the evolution, like a full-fledged tree. And God is present in creation as the visible elements as well as the consciousness principle, the observed as well as the observer, the experiencer as well as the experienced. The entire creation goes back to God and emerges again in a cyclic process. And most importantly, for us, every being is a divine spark, and God is present in every part and parcel of the creation. Now the question will be, if God is everywhere, how to appreciate, how to recognize that divinity? That is what Sri Krishna would speak in next 5 verses, verse 8 to 12. See God everywhere. That we shall see in our next talk. And that's it. That is the talk. Today's, that is what today's talk is. And we shall chant the closing chant. After that, I am sure there will be many questions, many doubts. We shall take them. Okay, so chant with me. Om Madhuvata Ritayate Madhuksharanti Sindhavaha Madhirna Shantoshadhihi Madhunaktam Utoshasi Madhumat Parthivagam Rajaha Madhudvau Astuna Pita Madhumano Banaspatir Madhumagam Astu Suryaha Madhir Gabo Bhavantunaha. Om Shantihi Shantihi Shantihi. Sweet blow the winds, and the oceans give forth blessedness. May the herbs and plants bring us health and happiness. Sweet unto us be the nights and dawns. May every particle of Mother Earth be charged with blessing. May the heavens shower us with benediction. Sweet unto us be the noble forest trees. Sweet unto us be the shining sun. Sweet unto us be all living creation. Om, sweetness, harmony, peace. Okay. One thing I can do is Yeah. You can unmute and ask me questions or add your comment, observation, whatever.
Swamiji, I want to ask something.
Please go ahead.
So I read that, you said God is present everywhere, but I read in Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, he said in Bengali, Shakti Visheshe. Sab jayega as in Shakti Visheshe. So somewhere he is present more, somewhere he is present less?
No, God is present equally. That's a very good question. Manifestation differs in the manifestation, the principle, the abstract truth or consciousness is present everywhere equally, but the medium through which we are trying to perceive that invisible principle, that differs. Okay, it will be understood better through another example Sri Ramakrishna used to give, that God is in every being, but we don't go and hug a tiger. Okay, because the manifestation here is in the form of a tiger, which we cannot hug. Okay, so God is present equally in everything, but the manifestation, the visible aspect of that manifestation differ from person to person. Sri Ramakrishna gives the example that when he goes to visit Ishadhyanananda Vidyasagar, who was a great philanthropist, and also a scholar, a humble man, a religious man, not a spiritual, but we would say a religious man. So Vidyasagar says that everybody is equal. What is so special in me? Sri Ramakrishna says that if you had not been special, why I would have come to you, right? Obviously, you don't have two horns. That is, you are so special that you have two horns that I have come to see you. But there is something special manifestation of you in you that has brought others to you. Okay, so God is present everywhere, but the manifestation differs. This is our problem of our own limitation, that we cannot perceive the same principle equally everywhere. We can see perceive the manifestation only. The moment we can perceive the unmanifested, the invisible aspect of God, we shall see everything is the same principle everywhere. This universe is also supposed to be a cosmic dream. Is God dreaming all this creation? Why does it appear so real to us? Supposed to be a cosmic dream. not supposed to be a cosmic dream. In cosmic dream, it is said in that sense that it has got this visible universe, according to Vedanta, has got a lower reality. Why lower reality? As we said, because it is changing, transforming, like a dream, which is here now, gone next moment. In that sense, it is a dream, but it does not mean that this universe is an illusion, or this universe does not exist. Okay, it is just to give an example that this is changing, this is transforming, but the creation is very much real.
Swamiji, I have a question.
Yeah, Alexandra, please go ahead.
Well, there's the buddhi and the ego. I forgot the other third element there. Can you hear me?
Yes, I think you have to speak a bit louder. I don't.
Okay. Usually people tell me to be quiet. Okay.
Oh, now
Um,
fine. Now
there's-
fine. Yes,
okay.
go ahead.
All right. So there's the ego. Why does the ego get confused and think it's the higher consciousness? Why is it always thinking that it can play the difficult game and be calm and then not have any, beginning or end and just be a wave? Why do we go there like that? Why do we think that way?
I please ask the question again. I could not get it.
Well, why does the ego think it's the higher consciousness? Why do people think they're God?
Oh, all right. Yes, why people think. So why when people think they are God, they are thinking right. Okay, but they are thinking right, but what they are identifying themselves, that is the problem. Okay, so if I am thinking that this mind, this limited existence or whatever it is, I am that itself is godlike, that will be not right. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So the conscious principle that is behind, that is godlike. That is the divine. Okay. The problem is not thinking about godlike, but then doing things which are not godlike.
Maharaj, there is also a third cause, right? Instrumental cause.
Yeah, instrumental and efficient cause. Yeah.
What is the Sanskrit word for it?
I have to see. I think instrumental cause is called nimitta. Okay. There's hardly any difference between instrumental cause and this intelligent cause.
Okay. Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you,
Okay.
Swami.
Yes.
So I had one question, Swamiji.
Yes, Sudhirji, go ahead.
So all the prayers, ceremonies, the different God forms in all faith systems that we pray to is more, they're more representations of that higher nature of the God principle. Is that what we are really seeking?
Yeah, exactly. As I said, that most of us cannot conceive of this abstract truth. We need an form, an expression, a being to which to connect to. Okay, that is, according to Vedanta, is the beginning point.
Right.
When we are thinking God as someone who is different from us. Okay, having an anthropomorphic form and with whom we can connect to. But Vedanta says that we have to move forward. From that, we have to appreciate God in everything. And finally, God as the conscious principle in everything. Okay. So nothing is wrong. Nothing is lower or higher. It just, according to taste and also according to, I would say, the stage of our evolution. All right. So one thing more, feel free to let me know by email or chat wrong things my wrong pronunciations or wrong usage of things like that. I would be thankful to you for that, okay? Because when I am speaking, I am not too much aware of my pronunciations, my usage of English, which is not my first language. I'm learning all the time. So if you give me feedback, it will be helpful to me. So, all right. Have a good week ahead. See you
Thank
soon.
you, Swamiji.
Yes, yes.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Thank you. And okay, let me know. Let me inform you that we shall celebrate Buddha Purnima, birthday of Lord Buddha.
It's on Wednesday, right?
Yes, this Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. So you can watch it on YouTube. It will be live streamed. Okay, there are two questions. Do you advise learning Sanskrit? Of course, I would definitely. I am also learning. There is a beauty in Sanskrit. Okay, there is a beauty, but it is not must. I would say it is not must. But many things, you know, for in any language, many things are lost in translation. Many things are lost in translation. So, of course, if we can learn Sanskrit, it will be good. But as much as we can, you know, it's a big thing. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.